So good morning, everyone in Facebook Live and Zoom. Today is the 13th of February, 2022, one day before St. Valentine's. Thank you, Isabel in Peru, Marta in Argentina, Marina in Argentina, and Luz Adriana in Colombia, and all our guests today. Mary Scholl from Costa Rica and the USA, Mirna from Mexico, Raj from Canada, Irma from Ecuador, Natalie, Mary, Adelina, Tania Cajamarca, and Monique Vinuesa in Ecuador, Marcia, Milagros, Ildefonso, Nardi Miranda, Bernardo Andres, and Roxana Tenario from Lima, who is coming. As usual, please let me share my screen with you. I hope I don't have any problem. And let me tell you the good and bad news. Well, as you know, my Facebook account was hacked. Unfortunately, it feels so bad because all the friends and contacts I have there, the photographs and everything else. But there is always something positive. Okay, our international online meetings are in the 3rd year. So I need somebody to read this and comment on it. Please, anyone? Anybody who wants to read and comment this quote?
Jaime, may I?
Yeah, please, Luz. Was it Luz or Mirna?
I think it was both at the same time. So
okay, once
Mirna
again.
once, she can do it.
Mirna, go on.
A teacher is a compass that activates the magnets of curiosity, knowledge, and wisdom. Ever Garris.
Yeah, what do you think? Are we a compass that activates the magnets?
I try to be a compass. I try to be a compass. Yes, I do. I do try to be a compass. I want to be that joint to make that joint with the students about curiosity and knowledge.
Yes, yes. The second one, anyone else, please, who wants to read and comment on it?
I can do it, Jaime,
Please,
dear.
Please do, Irma.
Okay. So it says, better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one with a great teacher. That is a Japanese proverb. And I think it's fantastic because yes, when you have a great teacher, you have a great facilitator, a great example, and you will be able to learn more within 45 or 50 or 55 minutes with a fantastic teacher after reading or while you're reading a lot of books. So yes.
Just like the fantastic teachers, we are reunited today. And the last one, I love this one, please. Mary Scholl, maybe you can read it.
Till I became a teacher, I had no idea you could fit so many kids in one heart. And it actually reminds me of a quote I was reading yesterday about love and how love is really about giving it away. So it's not about how much I receive, it's about how I live love and how I give it away. And so of course we can fit a ton of kids in our hearts.
Yes,
We're giving
not only
it
the
away.
kids, but also our family, right?
Family, kids, peers, colleagues.
Yeah, and everyone else, but not presidents.
Well, actually, I think, Jaime, we need to hold everyone in our heart.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay, I get
it. It's hard. We can set limits, but yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mary. As usual, you can watch all the videos that have been recorded, like 80 videos in our YouTube channel. And who is presenting in 2022? Who are our guest speakers? Well, Inés Torres de Muñoz and Carla Montes de Oca, they will be talking about reading and listening skills for the TOEFL IBT on Sunday, the 27th. Then our good friend from Nigeria, Anthony Michael, he will be talking about, finally, he will be talking about post-pandemic life in a post-pandemic world. Then a good friend that I have just met, Mona Boulet from Tunisia. Has anybody been there? in Tunisia? It's in
Not
Africa.
me.
Okay, but not yet, not yet. Well, she will be talking
Let's
about,
Depende
yeah,
how.
yeah, she will be talking about dealing with students' mental health through extracurricular activities. What an amazing topic. And then our good friend from Mexico, she's a book reader, a book storyteller, and everything else, Gabriela Ladrón de Guevara. She will be talking about intercultural communication in the ELT classroom. Another good friend, she's an actress, she's a teacher, she's a businesswoman, everything else. Ursula Marmol, back to the classroom with a renovated view. And then my good friend from Africa, Takalani Masho, I used to call him the president, and he will be talking about teaching and learning multicultural students at university. And another good friend, Jose Ricardo, he's from Colombia, but he lives in the USA and works in a university over there. And he will be talking about high leverage teaching practices. Well, who is presenting today? 4 wonderful ladies, human beings, and good friends. Isabel Ruiz from Peru, Maria Mora from Argentina, Marina Gonzalez from Argentina too, and Adriana Orozco. So welcome to the 4 of you and everyone who is listening to us. So you have a minute to talk about you, your life, your city, anything you want to say and introduce yourself. You start, Isabel.
Okay, thanks, Jaime. Well, for me, it's a pleasure to be with all of you and have all this audience. Well, as an English teacher, well, this is my passion. And what could I say about myself? I have 2 children, well, grown-up children, university students, and live in Piura. And I'm working in a kindergarten for about 20 years. I love dancing.
And something else that you haven't mentioned, Isabel, you were the one who pushed me and Jorge Garavito to finish our thesis when we were studying at the pedagogical. Remember? We were down, depressed, but it was you, the one who said, come on, we have to finish our thesis. So thank you very much. And I always remember that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Marta in Argentina, please.
Yes, hello everyone. Well, I'm from Buenos Aires. I've lived here all my life. And I'm a teacher, a wife, and a mother. I have 4 grown-up children. The oldest one is 34, and the youngest one is 19. And there are 2 in the middle. And well, that's it. About to retire, not just now, but in 2 years' time from the formal education system in Argentina, but with lots of plans and many other things that I've been doing over the last years. I've been participating in APIVA. This is Asociación de Profesores de Inglés de Buenos Aires. And together with Lidia Casalini, maybe some of you know her, we co-coordinate the teacher research special interest group. And this is quite a challenging thing to do, right?
Yes.
We've been doing it for 3 years now. So, well, thank you.
No, thank you, dear Marta, for having accepted the invitation. And the next one is Luz Adriana Orozco in Colombia. Welcome, dear Luz Adriana, and thank you for being with us.
No, thanks to you for inviting me and for opening this beautiful space, because I think we all need it. After the pandemic, we need to listen to these wonderful experiences in order to feel that we can do it. I'm a teacher in an elementary school. It's a private school, but it does a lot of social work. I'm a mom. I have a 2-year-old girl. She's not with me now, but she would be here if she was in this house, because She loves to be in mom's classes and meetings and all of that. And she says always, I want to say hi. And that's it. As I think Isabel said, it's a passion. Teaching is not a job. It is not my work or the work I do. It is my life project. So that's why I'm here, because it's a Sunday. I could be sleeping or jogging or whatever, but I want to be sharing and learning from all of you.
Yes, thank you so much, dear Luz. You said the right words. You could be eating, drinking coffee, watching TV, resting, whatever, but you decided to be here. So thank you for that. And finally, our good friend, the treasurer of of our international association, Marina Gonzalez from Argentina. Please, Marina.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Well, basically, quite similar to many of you have been working. As we mentioned some other time, it's the only job I've ever had. I don't know. I've never done anything besides teaching. So this is really my profession and the way I see the world. And quite similar to Mirna and related to what Luz was saying. I'm sorry. It's very difficult for me to be every Sunday with you, but I do my best. And in this case, today, I mean, just a couple of minutes ago, my son's friends left the house and they arrived yesterday. So it's been like 24 hours of teenagers in the house. So it's quite a challenge. I mean, to see how my brain is still working. But basically, well, many of you know me and I love to meet you again. It's Marina Gonzalez. I'm working at university. I'm going to explain that a bit later. I have two children. Okay, one of the eldest is a primary school teacher, and she specializes in mathematics and the teaching of mathematics. And the youngest, the teenage one, still finishing high school and is focusing on computers. Okay. And this year I'm mentioning that I'm divorced because I've been divorced as long as I was married. So
well, that could be a topic for next conference. And also Felipe, right? You also have Felipe.
Felipe, yeah, of course. There he is. But let's keep fingers crossed that he doesn't bark as we are speaking, because that's the most important thing throughout this meeting for me.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. And let's start. And thanks to all the people who are connected and here in the Zoom room. So let's start with the first question. And the first question is this one. What are the objectives that students should get in the level you teach, in kindergarten, in primary, in secondary, and university? In your opinion, what are the objectives that should be got by the students? So who wants to start? Maybe you, Isabel, because of a kindergarten level?
Yeah, I imagine that one. Yeah, okay. Well, basically, children need to understand the message. I would say that that's the main objective they need to get at this level. And then to follow directions. Well, you could see their answer physically. And depending on their maturity, they could be able to maybe say words, phrases, sentences, depending on their own, because we have to respect their own pace and individuality. So I will say that that's basically the main objective in kindergarten.
And do you agree? Some people say this, that kindergarten students should learn to read and write before going to primary school, or you disagree with that?
Well, from my experience, but what the research say is they are not ready yet. They will be ready depending, no? There are exceptions. There are kids who could read in their mother language when they are 5 or 4, but those are exceptions. Talking about the standard, the research said that they might be able about 7 when they are actually mature. They
Yeah.
have developed all their foundation, the pre-reading skills
Yes.
in
And
their
I've
mother
read-
language, in their
Yes, and
mother
I've read-
language.
Yes, and I've read some researchers saying that you can expose the students to reading and writing, but just expose them, and if they like it, okay, let them go.
Well,
Okay.
that's to develop pre-reading and pre-writing activities. That's
Okay.
to set up their pre, but it's not
Okay.
reading actually.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Now let's go to Luz Adriana, because you teach in primary school, don't you?
Yes, I do. I work in an elementary school, so the first year that I work with is transition, which is the kids from 5 year who are 5 years old. So as you were asking, in my opinion, they shouldn't be learning how to read and write, because as the name of the grade says, it's transition, the year where they are changing the environment. They are listening to a different authority figure. They're going to start sharing with classmates. So I think they should be like adapting to the process of being in a formal education system. In my case, I think as Isabel was saying, the process should be individual, right? So in the case of teaching English, we should focus on creating the interest. And I think showing them that there are people that communicate with different words, with different forms, because they are just establishing their process as students. So we should create an interest and expose them and motivate them. So motivation and accepting like all the responses, the body language and physical responses. Just if they wave their hand when you're leaving the classroom, or if they smile at you when you say hello, or if they clap and cry and scream when you say it is break time or something like that. So I think that is acceptable in the learning process.
Thank you so much, Luz Adriana. Now let's go to secondary school, high school. Marta, you work in high school, don't you?
Yes, yes. I've been working in secondary school for but about 20 years. Of course, teens have changed throughout the years, but they have some things in common. And this is this kind of, I don't know if I could call it apathy. This characteristic they have, that they feel that nothing is interesting to them. So I think that one of the challenges that we teachers of adolescents have is to, as one of the phrases you mentioned at the beginning, is to make them feel curious. And that's a really great challenge. Nothing seems to seduce them. So you go crazy sometimes, but I think that one of the most important things we need to do with secondary school students is to help them and find a way to help them to acquire and in some cases develop those abilities and those skills they have with technology. Technology is one of the things that seduces them the most. So, but technology is just, in many cases, at least in the students with whom I work, it's just using their mobile phone and WhatsApp and one or two applications, and they don't move from there. So one of our challenges, I think, is to find a way to make them like what we have, whatever we have to teach them and to offer them, but through their technology. It's hard because, we belong to another generation. So we have to kind of make a mix of what they like, what they are interested in, and what we have to offer them.
Yes.
Right. So that's one of the biggest challenges I've been finding
Yeah.
during these years.
By the way, if you ask me what level I wouldn't like to teach, that would be secondary school, because for me, primary or university or even kindergarten, I guess it's a little bit less difficult. Okay. And finally, Luz Marina, what are the objectives that students should get in the level you teach at university, Marina?
Yep. I was thinking, whatever I answer in terms of higher education, I need to split it in two things. One is the role of English in any course of studies, and the other one is the training of future teachers, right? Because those are two things that, whatever I see, are my two realities. Basically, I mean, it's what we have to do is to formalize all the things that our colleagues have been doing so far. Because they've been working on this motivation, on this supporting skills, or on developing curiosity, etc. What happens to Marta and all teachers in secondary schools is what we receive when we teach technical English or EAP or ESP in any other major, because it's part of the curriculum, and it's very, basically what we try is to enhance their professional skills. Okay, so that this is where reading and writing come. And some people question, why are we teaching reading and writing in higher education? Well, because it's a different genre, the one that they need to learn, and it's something, and they need to become professionals, not only in the field that they have, but also what it means to be a professional in general terms, in terms of speaking, in terms of explaining themselves, of being specific, of participating in the discussions of the field, and much more so if they want to be teachers of English. One of the things that has changed, and it's related to the objectives, is that we don't have, well, at least in my program, we don't have a teacher training program. We have a teacher education program, and that is a change of model. Teachers are not trained, they are educated. They're mainly educators. This is something, Jaime, that you mentioned many times when we all talk about this. And our objectives is to help our future colleagues, right, to carry them by the hand, okay, and lead them into what their classes are going to be. So we move away from the ideal student. We talk about reality. We try to teach them first to be a teacher, to develop their teacher being, and then to support it with language. But part of the biggest problems in higher education have been that teachers are trained in English, but then they don't know the reality of what they're teaching. And this is what happens. You don't know the subject who is going to participate with you in teaching. Yeah. And that's where, I mean, sorry, and this is my last comment on this. It is inconceivable that with the level of knowledge that we have in the field of ELT, people don't learn English. And that is because there is something going on in the class.
Yes, and that is something, yeah, thank you, Marina. And that is something that I have always asked myself, why after like 12 years of studying English from kindergarten, primary school, high school, and also university, students don't speak. And one of the problems, I guess, is because students think that English is just a requirement, but not a necessity. And we will be talking about that. Okay, the second question, my dears, and then we will give the opportunity of the people who are here to speak, is what problems, well, some of you have already mentioned them, what problems do you cope with? What problems do you have to face in the level you teach? Talking about material, the people you work with, the school where you work, and etc. Okay. Maybe this time you don't have to start, Isabel, but somebody else. If not, you start, Isabel.
Well, more than problem, because I work I mean, the place I work we manage when we have issues about material and all this stuff. But what I think in one of the inconvenience I find when hiring teachers, English teacher for kindergarten, here in Piura, we don't find teachers trained to teach kindergarten. They've been trained to be other levels, but not kindergarten. I think there is a misunderstanding about teaching children because they think they need just the basic skills to teach children, but it's not that. It's more than that. Yesterday on a training course we are taking at a school, learning about Waldorf pedagogy, we learned that we need to know whom we're teaching. We need to know how they learn, how they develop. It's not just I know English and I can teach them. No, you have to know how they think, how they learn, how they grow, and so and so. And then it's not easy. That's the main inconvenience I find on this level.
Yeah, and the question would be, Isabel, why universities, institutes, or any teaching institution does not prepare or teach teachers to become kindergarten teachers. Everybody thinks that teaching kindergarten is just colors, playing, painting, pasting, or singing, which is not true. But I respect very much the teachers who work in kindergarten.
So, well, that could be one issue for institutions to train teachers to, well, when they are training teachers in general, see the just different fields, no? Because human beings have different development when learning. Yes. I mean, in self. So you need to be not specialized, but at least have an idea how to.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Luz, Adriana, what about the problems you face in your level, that is primary school or elementary school?
Here, fortunately, I don't have issues like lack of resources or problems with teacher benefits, salaries. No, nothing like that, because my institution is quite of different. But the problems we face is the hard life that students have. I mean, the problems with students not going to school, which interferes with their processes. Kids that are hungry, or that are sick, or that come from violent families, or, well, sort of those things. So what I have to deal with is motivation, like comforting students, hugging them, and all of that. Like, what I mean is my school is so different that it is very hard to explain. But we as teachers, we have to do many things for human beings. Not, well, it is a private institution, but they don't pay, so I don't have to treat my students like customers. But I have to understand. So for example, in the morning, a father or a mother is going to take the kid to the school, and then he says, "Hi, teacher, how are you? No, this happened last night. We couldn't sleep," or something like that. So it's more like a personal life conditions or situations that affect the learning processes where I work.
Yes, and I guess that happens everywhere, because the families are everywhere. They are part of the society, right? Thank you, dear Liz. Now, Luz, sorry. Now, Marta in Argentina, what about the problems you face in secondary school, besides the ones that you mentioned in the first question?
Yes, well, something that is not characteristic or typical of it's not an exclusive problem of secondary school, but in fact, it's a problem that appears in state-run schools, is the lack of resources. You know, we do the most with the little we have. Fortunately, in Ciudad de Buenos Aires, we have more resources than in the rest of the country, as far as I know. But, you know, there's always a problem. Technology, well, fortunately, a couple of years ago, we started having an internet connection just before the pandemic. So we could more or less work with technology. But, you know, nowadays, some of the netbooks that were provided to the school by the government, the city government, are now becoming old and they can't be updated. So that's another problem. What was a solution a few years ago, a couple of years ago, is becoming now a problem. Well, another thing that happens in my school is that students can't buy any textbooks. So, I mean, it is a problem on the one hand, but on the other hand, it forces us teachers to become more creative because we have to generate our own materials, you know. So sometimes we have this typical copy-paste photocopies thing to make the students' booklets, but sometimes if the technology is on our side, we can do many other things. Fortunately, most of our students, as from second or third year, have their own mobile phones. And so, I mean, we've been working a lot on using web pages, and we are one of the things that is a real challenge for us, and especially in this level, in secondary level, is that we have to teach, or we have to make students aware that they have to learn how to check information, how to look for what they need to look for, and not just copy paste from the first thing they find on the internet. So this is one of the most important things that we face. I mean, I don't know if it's a problem. We could say that you know, whenever there's an issue, we can get or look at it as an opportunity to make our students more. I mean,
yeah.
Yes,
I mean, I love what you say, Marta, about making any chaos or problem an opportunity to learn or do something else.
Can I say something, Jaime, please?
Please do, Luz Adriana.
The school where I work at was created 48 years ago by a woman that was passionate about education. And as our partner was saying, books are a problem for students. She started looking at the teenagers that were on the streets, working on traffic lights and all of that. And she started analyzing their situations, and the conclusion she came up with was that they were not a problem. I mean, the problem was not them. The problem was that school, because they were not studying, because they had to buy books they couldn't afford, because they had to wear uniforms they couldn't pay for, because the school was like so close in several aspects. So our school doesn't use textbooks. She and the teachers that started like the first stage of the school started creating fichas de trabajo for the 4 basic areas, which are mathematics, language, science, and social studies. And then for like 10 years ago, I started doing so with English. So our students, if there is a kid that wants to study, they can do it in our institution because they don't have to buy books and because they don't have to wear uniforms and because all of that. So to conclude, my opinion is that it is so sad that the system is also a huge problem for us teachers.
That's true. I guess we all agree with you. System is a big problem too, in spite of everything we want to do. And finally, my dear Marina, in Argentina.
Yes.
The question is, what problems do you face in the level you teach?
Right. It's, yeah, you can call me your dissenting friend, because I think that by listening with lots of interest to all of you, there is something that I think is that we discuss issues at a very technical level and a very like concrete level, instead of a more symbolic and I mean, and really when we talk about the system, what is the system? What is it the specific policy of our country in terms of education, and who does this? I mean, when Maria Marta complains about this, we have a disaster of a Minister of Education in the city of Buenos Aires. So then, why are the computers that were given, I mean, inappropriate now? It's because there was no clear planning and thinking. So I think that we need to challenge these given truths, and I love, I mean, you know, I specialize in well, I used to, I don't know, I have worked in materials for a long time, and when we consider not having books a problem, it's, I'm sorry, but it's a middle class question. It's a matter, it's why, what is it? We need to have foreign books. Is that what we talk about? Or are we talking about our possibility? I mean, why a book is a book and Luz Adriana's material is a ficha de trabajo? Why do we call things differently? This is what I mean. So I'm sorry, when we talk about problems, I after many years of working everywhere, I've worked in universities for 30 years with a variety of things. And I can say that in this moment, I'm working in the place where I'm happy. We have restrictions, we have a lot of challenges, but we find answers. We have there is a policy of the university to try and find answers to the challenges that we have. And I think that this is the educational opinion, because the problem that we generally, I think that our problem, if there is any, is the loneliness that teachers, that English teachers have in institutions, mostly when they are part of a bigger curriculum, not in language schools, but if they work in universities, nobody knows, or you have the pedagogues at the top of the academic direction or whatever, and they will say, well, language is something, right? Or you have to discuss curriculum. So it's a political problem, the one that we have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So, well, so in the particular case that I mentioned is, we are trying to solve, but what I see in higher education is that you have separate attempts from different isolated teachers with lots of interest and stamina and that do not get a shape of into a program or into something, because there is not a decision behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with everything you have said, and maybe it's time for me to give some time for the people who are here and talk about these two questions. The first one was, what are the objectives that the students should get in the different levels and the problems they face? So if there is somebody who wants to talk a little bit about one of the topics and switch on your camera, we would be very happy to hear and listen to your opinion. Hello.
Hi, Jaime. Good morning, everybody.
Hello, Monica,
nice
in Ecuador. Nice to see you and listen to you.
I would like to answer. First, I would like to say thank you for opening this wonderful space for listening and talking. I have been joining once in a while, but the ones I have attended, they have been great. And this one, I think it is also great, and I'm really happy I'm able to join. Now, I'm going to answer to the question, like, what's the student's objective? That's the question you were asking, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to answer to that one. I work with the students from university, first level and fourth level. And I think based on my experience, what they need is to find their motivation. They need to find the reason why we have to learn a foreign language. That's what I have seen. I'm not saying that it's in general, but that's what I have seen. I work with the students from the Amazon region. Their mother tongue is the Quechua language, for example, and they are speaking Quechua and Spanish, and English is the third language. And what I find with these students is that they don't have like, sometimes they don't understand why they have to learn another language, why they have to learn a third language. So when you tell them and you explain them, well, this is going to help you to get to another cultures, to open new doors, and to help you with what you're studying, and they start to understand the things. And the second thing I do to motivate and explain that the language that I am teaching, they are learning, is not as difficult as they have seen through their student life. Because after 6 years in a school, not learning English, 6 years in the high school, not learning English, and again, going to first level is demotivated. They are like, again, back to be colors, days of the week, oh my God. Please don't tell me I have to do it again, the same process. So well, I work a lot with motivation. I try to reach them and to first to get to know them, what they like to do, you know, and try to reach that that point where they feel motivated. Once I have that, I can start teaching English. Yes. Of course, I do it all the time. I mean, I'm doing all the time, directly, indirectly, using all kinds of materials I can have, videos, music, poems, literature, anything that I find motivates them. So at the end, the result, I can see now the result. Yes, they find their way. I want just they find their own way to learn. I am not forcing them. I just telling them all the time, have fun and learn.
Yes.
So that's my answer. Motivation. Yeah. I think it's.
Can I ask something, Monica, about because it's higher education? It's why do they have to learn the colors again? I mean, there is a problem there in curriculum.
Exactly.
Okay. So
but it comes from the government, right?
Exactly. You know what the problem is? There are not political, there's not a clear linguistic policy. Yeah, that is not a clear from the government.
Yeah, and so that's the answer for Marina's question. What did we mean by problems of the system? Yeah.
Exactly. That's the big problem, you know. There have been, here in Ecuador, there have been some attempts to correct this, to have a curriculum, but every government changes, everything changes, so there is not a follow-up of the system.
Yes, that's true.
And nothing is clear.
Yeah, thank you so much, Monica. You should be in our roundtables and Sunday meetings all the time, please. Anybody else? Please, anybody else from the audience, please? Roxana in Lima.
Yes, good morning, everybody. So pleased to be here with you guys. I wanted to complement something that has been taught before about kinder. According to the brain development, we know that at the age of 3 to 5, the brain is not ready prepared for reading officially, but they have the photographic reading. So what it means that, for example, a little kid, the father says and shows the sign Coca-Cola, for example, right? And the father and the little kid, 2 years, says Coca-Cola. And then the father thinks he's reading. He doesn't say Coca-Cola. No, he has a photographic memory. That's why we sometimes confuse about this, right? So that is about the brain. The brain is just ready to start reading and writing from 6 on. There are definitely some exceptions, but that is the process of the development of the brain of little kids. Then about primary, what you have said is very interesting about the situation that you have there, but it happens everywhere, in primary, in high school, universities. We are part of the system, believe it or not, or want it or not, we are part of the system. So what can we do with this? Me, personally, I create my own world in my classroom. I have my program, I have my objectives, but what can I do with this group of human beings that are in my hands? How can I make them develop? How can I make them interested? How can I motivate them? I not expect to come the motivation from outside. I always expect the motivation that is intrinsic. If the students are intrinsically motivated, everything is much easier. Each level, kinder, primary, high school, which I had had the chance and a great opportunity to work in all these levels, have their own challenges. No, we have the tendency not to mention them as problems or difficulties, but challenges. And we have to be aware of that. We know we have the problem with the system, the political system, but it's what can I do with this group of human beings? What can I do with this group of kids that are in my hands? Quite very important to know is what they are having as a background of the previous knowledge. What is the problem that they have from their homes, the real life, and to learn. If I have 15, 20, or just 2 or 5 students, I need to know the reality of each one. Cannot treat them as a whole. They are individuals, and we have to learn that. What I have had the experience that working in primary, then in high school, is that, for example, we have a set of books for primary from 1st to 6th grade. Then we have another set of books from 1st grade high school to 5th grade high school. The book from 1st grade high school is much easier than from the book of the 6th grade primary. Why? Because the 6th book primary is the end of a process. And then again, as Monica said, comes again the beginning. 1st grade high school comes and they start with colors, with numbers and things because it's a new program. And then the university, the same thing. So there is our task. We know that. We need to know all the set of program. We need to know all the process. And as soon as we know, okay, I have to teach colors. Okay, but I have to teach it in a very different way as I taught in kinder, as I taught in primary, as I taught in high school, because they're now in university. For example, if I teach them, do we know what is the popular color in 2022?
No.
Very Perry. What is a very Perry color?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a color, and we can teach that in high school. Very Perry is a color that is a combination between lilac and lavender.
Oh.
And that is the color in fashion for 2022.
Oh.
So we need to read, we need to investigate. I'm not going to be teaching yellow and blue. I'm going to be teaching the shades, the variations.
Now I feel much older, dear Roxy.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to add these things.
Oh, thank you so much. I guess that we need more round tables. Next time, just one for kindergarten teachers and the other.
Yes, it's a whole world.
Yes, and because a universe, I would say, not only a world. Okay, anybody else from the audience, please, besides Isabel, who wants to also talk? Anybody else? And we keep on. Marta, inside our classroom, we have a great responsibility. Yeah, some people were writing here. For example, teacher Marijo, he says here in Costa Rica, you have to speak an indigenous language if you want to teach in an indigenous tribe, not force them to be accommodated to the culture and language outside their tribes. Yeah. And then somebody else wrote something else. Teacher Marijo also wrote, students are humans. We have to understand they have their own universe going on in their minds. Yes, that's true. Okay, Isabel, briefly, and Mary.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I agree that we as teachers, as you show the code, we are the campus. Not just for learning, but to try to explore those human beings who we are interacting with. And all of them are human beings from a child to an adult, right? I mean, the people we are interacting with. I think that we all have the same inconvenience, I think, not a problem, in all the levels. So kind of a system. Whether if it is private or public. You know me as a classmate, I'm very rebel, you know, Jaime. So yes. When something doesn't work, I just put it away. So that's what I found when I taught at a technical institute here in a public technical institute in Piura. the curriculum didn't fit to the students' background because they came from different provinces, from the highlands and rural areas. Obviously, they didn't have any English at all. And the curriculum didn't fit at all because it had a B2 level, you know? So I think that's
which even the teachers didn't have.
Right. So it's a very complex, problem we face all over the world. So what we need is to adapt. That's what I did. I found myself, I had to teach those people who will become mechanics, secretaries. I didn't know anything about that. So how could I motivate them? I need to know what they want to learn, not to teach them any grammar because they didn't know at all. And so what I did is I learned part of mechanical parts of a car and all this, because they say, and they brought me the material and I say, what do you want to learn? Okay, miss. And they brought me all things they want to learn, because they need to learn about, cars that are electronic now and all that. And I mean, it happened to all the areas I taught. So I didn't teach anything about the curriculum. That's what I did.
Yeah,
that's what I did. So,
yeah, something that Marina, Elizabeth from Ecuador, and Gabriel Diaz from Uruguay have been talking for a long time is why we don't have our own books, why we don't have our own international exams and something like that everyone is talking about now. Mary Scholl in Costa Rica.
I think my internet is a little unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
Great. So I so appreciate everyone's comments and thoughts and learning about it. And, one thing that struck me with Mariana was when you said that, what was once a solution has now become a problem. And yes. I think one way of thinking about this is to look at what's the system as a whole. I can say, oh, I don't have resources. Oh, I don't have a curriculum. Oh, I don't have trained teachers who are trained. I don't have a policy from the government that fits what we need. And I think it's important to sort of look at all of those. So for me, the main levers of change that we have to think about are initial teacher education, in-service training and development, curriculum resources and assessment design, the local context and culture of learning. So what Marijo said, in our context in Costa Rica, that if you're going to be teaching indigenous people, then you need to have an indigenous language. So like, what is the local context, whether you're in inner city or in a rural indigenous area? What's the national context and policy and culture of learning? And then what's happening in research, education, and innovation? Like all of those need to be attended to. And yes. We here can't attend to all of them. Like no one person can take care of all of them. We need people, and this is like, Marina, when you're talking about needing national planning, we need national planning that attends to all of those areas.
Yes.
So that we can do our jobs as teachers. And so I think what happens a lot of times is we get caught up and I get caught up and overwhelmed. Okay, if I don't have the right book or the right materials, or my students aren't interested in what I have to say, I can get caught up in a piece and forget that piece is part of a bigger system. And I think sometimes holding that perspective helps me have a little bit more sanity. And it helps me go back into my own challenge and go, okay, what's one thing I can do today? Yes. I know I'm a part of a system. What's one little thing I can do? So, okay, my students don't care about what I'm teaching. Maybe I can stop the content and say, okay, you guys, let's have a heart-to-heart conversation. Yes. Like that's one little thing I can do today. And so I find myself going between what's one thing I can do right now to what are all the levers of the system, the different parts of the system that affect what's happening. And one human being here in my kitchen in Costa Rica, I'm making some really nice spinach spanakopita this morning with you all. This might become my thing. Maybe I'll start cooking every Sunday morning and join you and cook.
Please.
But I can do some things and I can't do everything.
Well.
And I really appreciate what you're doing, Jaime, because it's so cool to see people from all over the world, all over Central and South America here.
Yeah.
And we are doing something. It's a little something, and it's a big little something.
Yes, because as you said, what can I do? Okay, we can stop blaming the system, the government, the books, whatever, but what are we going to do personally in our class? Okay, let's continue.
Both, right? We need both.
Yes, we need both. So let's go and see the third question, okay? And the third question is Isabel, Marina, Roxana, Mary, and everyone else. What should the teachers of the level you teach encourage their students to get? Okay, so wants to start?
Yeah, kindergarten. Okay. I could start.
If you want.
Yeah.
But maybe Marina can start this time.
Okay, Marina.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Because it is also interesting. It's the opposite of the ladder, right? It's
yes, up and
instead
down.
of saying right, exactly. I'm a little I have a bit of a doubt in terms of what we mean by encourage students to get. I don't know if students get something or if they become something through language, right? In our case, I mean, whenever you talk about university, it's the profession. It is language related to the profession that they want to pursue. So basically, it has to do with whatever you do with language, whether it is as Monica mentioned and Roxana built later on upon that, right? Whatever curriculum you have to develop to link it to the professional field. And basically there, I mean, English at university level is supporting the professional style or the full professional that the student is going to become. It's not something, it's the end of the process, right? It's their full autonomy. Then they can study language for other purposes, okay? But what it is, how well they speak, how articulate they are, how clear they are in terms of academic language, that is what English can support and can make clear in the minds of students. Just a very brief vignette. I remember when we started teaching English at university, the previous program was basically reading and writing, and we added speaking and listening within the specific academic field, right? English as a general academic, I don't remember the last letter. And what students from psychology said, what you are doing is you're changing the meaning of the object, okay? Right? You know, like the object of desire, the object of whenever you're, or the object of learning, okay? So then language is an object for them. The problem is what it means to them. Is it a problem? Is it something unnecessary? Is it absolutely additional? What language, what the English class did in that university, in that particular program, was to change what English meant to them. So that is what we need. If I have to say what students need to get, is to change what English means in their lives. Okay, yes. Finally, if it hasn't been achieved yet, before in general terms, at least professionally, that's what it should do.
Yes, yes. I also teach university students, and I always encourage them. As somebody told me, don't look at the tree, but look at the forest. Pay attention to what you can get learning not only one, but two more languages. Well, somebody else, Isabel, Luz Adriana, or Maria Marta?
I think that what Marina just said applies for all the stages of the education process. Students need to find a sense, like a reason, like they need to understand that English is useful for something more than reciting words or that repeating information with no purpose. From the very, very beginners to the more advanced, they need to find English useful. And I think like we should focus on quality over quantity. So when they get better results, they start being more motivated, and it's going to be like a snowball. Yes, like every time they are more motivated and feel more satisfied with their own processes, they're going to get like better.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luz. Then Maria Marta or Isabel?
Maria Marta, it's okay. So
Okay.
I finished this time.
Yes, if I could.
Yeah, please,
Yes,
Maria.
right. It's just the other way about. You know, I'm thinking about my teen students, and well, many things that have been mentioned before came to my mind. One of the things is motivation, and sometimes I've discovered that when my students feel more motivated is when they find and they discover that English is what they need for what they are interested in. So if they're interested in learning the lyrics of a song,
Yes.
that's what they want and they need English for, right? Others love, I don't know, doing something else. So when they find that English will help them go and find what they're interested in, that's when they become enthusiastic about learning English. Otherwise, they feel frustrated. So what I think that our challenge as teachers, at least of teens, is discovering where it is that they need the English, for what they need English for. But sometimes, you know, in particular, my students are very, very quiet. And so it's kind of double the double work you have to do to try and find what they need. Well, always learning as a teacher, as a person.
Yes, and they love when you know something that you are not supposed to know as a teacher, or because you are old, and they are surprised when you let them know that you know what they also know, but you are not supposed
when they ask and I say, I don't know, but we can look for the information. We can look for it together. So show them that I mean, the teacher doesn't know everything. And that's a way to showing yourself as a human, not only as the teacher, you know.
And something that I've noticed that students love is when you recognize and you demonstrate and you accept that you are vulnerable and that you don't know. And clap when they know something that you don't know. Yes, Isabel?
Can I say something to Maria Marta before we
please, Luz Adriana.
That in the school, what we do is that parents and students participate at the beginning of the year in the establishment of the goals. We in Colombia we call it planes de área or planes de aula, which is like what the teacher is going to do for the whole year. And for example, we're just starting and parents participate. They attend meetings where they agree with teachers. Well, the teacher has a proposal and parents say, okay, teacher, you can do this. I would like to work on this. And then they do it together, teachers, parents, and students. So I think it is good to engage and let the students the opportunity to say what they want to learn and how they want to do it, as Maria Marta was saying about the lyrics of the songs.
Yes.
Let me tell you that I envy you because you can count on parents. It's not exactly our case. Unfortunately, we still have to find from the school as an institution, we have to find how to engage parents. You know, at least the population of our school comes from working class, and parents are really overwhelmed by many things that they have to pay attention to. So sometimes school is a kind of bag where you go throw your kids for some time. I mean, I'm not criticizing them. I understand that this is what they can do. They have no other option sometimes. So it's really sad. But when we invite parents on some I mean, some occasions when we say, well, you can watch it, or you can come and see your kids because they're showing what they've been doing. And only 2 or 3 parents out of a whole course can make it and come.
Yes,
So,
it is like that in here, but trust me that it is at least something. I understand what you mean. And as I said before, it is very hard to explain my school. It is not something easy. It is not something that it was like made from one day to the other. So if you want later on, I can answer questions and tell you more about the experience so you understand that I'm not exaggerating or even lying about what I say.
I promise, Luz, we will go to have a round table, face-to-face round table in your country.
Perfect. So we dance salsa in Cali and we eat champús
drink
and lulada,
coffee.
and then we go to Finlandia and we have the cup of coffee.
And talk about these wonderful, extraordinary topics. And finally, Isabel. Your microphone, Isabel.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I just realized. Yeah, students are aware of their learning from primary levels, but not in kindergarten. I mean, you know, they are not long, they are long time learners, right? They don't even know they're learning for a language. So
they are playing, they think they are playing.
They play, well, that's a challenge, you know. Finally, we have all levels. I have many ideas here now. Why I try to get, I mean, in all this process, and having heard adults and moms saying, "Oh, Miss, I had a bad experience in learning, so I don't know any English." Adults, what we try at a school at Brilliant Studies to get students learn in a memorable way, and what we try to get that is making everything lively, just lively. But that's why I said how they learn. We have to know the people we are addressed to teach, and in terms of their needs, development, interest, world, whatever. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And I was thinking about all this, and I realized that we always face problems as teachers. And remember Jaime Escalante, Jaime?
Of course,
remember, yeah,
of course,
I don't
from
know,
Mexico,
right.
But live and work in the USA.
Yeah, so
no,
I
from
think
Bolivia, from Bolivia.
Right. Yeah, remember. So I think that we teachers make the difference in just as a summary.
Yes, that's true. Well, and now let's go to the last question and the wrap up. The last question is, it's how can teachers, this is something that I always ask myself. Why in that school they teach English very well in kindergarten, but then something happens in primary? Or they teach very well, they teach English very well in kindergarten and primary, but then something happens in secondary school and it's the same school. So how can teachers of the next level connect the previous knowledge with the new one? Okay, who wants to start with this last question? Anyone? Well, in your case, Marina, it would be, and my case too, it would be how to connect the previous knowledge from university to the real world, right, Marina?
If we're talking about in terms of the next, absolutely. The problem is that what we do is we embody all the experiences that have taken part before. And one of the this is one of the biggest challenges, because mostly, and probably sometimes related to some sort of concept of prestige or something, teachers who, ELT teachers who teach at university do not teach in other levels of the system. And this is a big problem because they are not knowledgeable in terms of what happens before, and what they do is they become judgmental. And when they become judgmental, they miss a very, very important point. That is, when a student reaches higher education, he's an expert student. And the biggest reason why people say, or teachers say, these people don't know anything is because these expert students are so expert that they know how to minimize their efforts in things that they don't want. So that if you ask them, do you know English? And they want to become, I don't know, graphic designers, the easiest answer is, I don't know anything. Because then, and they will, I mean, and this is where all the concepts of motivation that you have all mentioned can become organic and not the effort of one isolated teacher, right? I mean, if you know that a student is an expert in his field, he knows what he needs to make his life easier. What you need is to be an expert teacher to build the rapport necessary so that the student will let you learn, will let you teach, and he will enjoy learning, okay? So this is, it's a reality is what happens with us with the rest of the system in terms of levels, and it's a challenge in itself. University teachers need to learn how to dialogue with the secondary school and not to judge secondary school, nor primary, nor kindergarten. They need to get the best out of them. And that, in that sense, reality will change. It will take a lot of time, but it will change.
Yes, and also if there are 10, 15 teachers working in one school, they need to be good friends, good colleagues, good partners, good peers, which is something difficult because we are human beings and we sometimes feel envy. We envy the others, or we don't like some people, and that is a big, big problem, I guess. So Isabel, how to connect, I don't know, the housework, the children come from their houses, how to connect that previous knowledge with your kindergarten students?
Yeah, well, here I think that we are very aware that this age, they are like they are in blank. Well, but we have to deal, I mean, not with language, but with their feelings, their emotions, their affectiveness, and not about language, about background in their language, but trying to develop all these skills. We have to consider how they are emotionally. That's what we have to deal in this age, more than language background. And as I said before, we focus on get them learn memorably. I mean, they enjoy whatever. I mean, they live and they have fun, and that's it. Just to set up all the foundation for their later on learning in primary levels. And well, as you know, in our school, we are really focused on communication more than well, that age we don't have to deal with the structure, right? So, but kids, I mean, we just try to elicit their communication depending on their own level and on their own pace of learning, on their own. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Isabel. Luz Adriana?
Well, I think that what we could do is like the ones that have students in the previous level, we should provide like a nice experience so they go to the next level, like wanting to meet the English teacher, like wanting to be in the English classes, like going beyond the transmission of knowledge. And as one of the persons was saying, like providing a positive experience, engaging them through the different activities but like they want to be there. Like they say, oh, today is Wednesday, today is the English class. Wow, this is good because the teacher is at least one. So if we provide a nice positive experience in the previous stage, it's going to be easier for the next teacher, because at least they are going not to say, oh no, English again. No, I don't want to go to the English class. Oh no, here in Colombia it happens. We say that English is el coco, because in the university it's a requirement. And if you ask students from the universities, there are students that go to the 5 or 6 years of their careers and they are ready to graduate, but they didn't see any of the English courses because they didn't want to, because they hate it, because they see there is no purpose in that. So a positive experience in the previous is going to help a little bit for the students to perform a little bit better in the next one.
Sorry, a question, Luz Adriana. Did you say they call it el coco or el cuco?
El coco. El coco is something that they hate in English. And there is something more challenging for us as English teachers, that they like the physical education teacher, the arts teacher, and so
the music teacher.
But we have to deal with the hate that there is, that has been spread for the language teachers. In this case, well, English.
Okay, but the solution, I guess we have the solution, right? It's up to us.
Yes,
okay.
Obviously we have to go beyond complaining, and as you were saying before, we have to do something. And I think this Sunday in this meeting is that part of the something we're doing.
Yes, and we will continue doing some more roundtables. As I said before, next time just English teachers who work in kindergarten, and then teachers who work in primary, to see what can we do. Okay, and finally, Maria Marta.
Well, there, I couldn't unmute myself. Well, I have to admit something in front of all of you. I have been judgmental, as Marina was saying. You know that I can speak from my own reality, which may not be everyone's reality in Buenos Aires, of course. But I work in a secondary school that is only secondary school. So what we get from primary schools is children who are 12 or 13-year-old, and they come from different schools. So it's very hard to assess what comes to us, you know. We have so many different levels. I would say one level of English by each student. I mean, each student has their own level. And in a way, we sometimes have to start almost from scratch, because we also receive students from other countries where English is not compulsory during primary school. So it's a great issue, right? We have tried many things. We haven't found the ideal one. And we are still learning, right? Another thing that is very challenging for us, teachers of secondary school, is trying to, little by little, show students that it's not all play in the English class. You know, kids want to play all the time. And they say, no, but you know, with the primary school teacher of English, we used to play. And I said, okay, great. We're going to play for a little time, but we're going to do other things now, because you have grown up and you are bigger now. And, you know, but it's a real challenge for us.
And they love their primary teacher and they hate you because you don't.
Sometimes they do. But, you know, you have to show them that you are a person apart from a teacher. You're not, I mean, you're not on a pedestal or,
yes,
you know, you're a being, a human being,
yes.
Just like them.
That's what I always tell them. We are all the same. The difference that I'm a teacher, a master, or a PhD, or whatever. It doesn't make me better or worse. Yeah. Okay. So now, before the final message, I would like to remind everyone, especially the people who are here in the Zoom meeting, the 4 questions. Okay, the 4 questions we have been talking about are: what are the objectives that the students should get in every single level? What problems we teachers face or deal with? What do we advise? What we advise the teachers, or sorry, what should the teachers of the level we teach encourage their students to get? And finally, how can teachers of the next level connect the previous knowledge with the new one? So if anyone, please, here wants to give his or her opinion, we will be very pleased. Do not expand or extend too much, right? That's all. Anybody, please, in Bolivia, in Peru, in Mexico, in Ecuador, in Argentina?
Okay. Hello.
Hello, Maria Elba in Bolivia.
Hello, Jaime. Hi, everybody. Now I am in our, I think it's our first session of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. One day before St. Valentine's.
Okay. I want to say something. When you enter to another school or another grade in the school, in order that the students have the interest and continue loving, I don't know, the English that they had last year or in primary or in secondary, and now they are in the university, it's necessary to make them know our aims. What is our objective of this year, where we are going together, learning each other of the English? So when they know what we are going to do, or what are some themes that they want to see in the class, and you can adapt the titles that they say, or what are their interests, you can change or put in your aims or in your class, during your class, all that they want to see. For example, when we were in the pandemic last year, and it was very, very terrible, so they want to talk all the time about the pandemic, because one of the students said, my brother dead, my grandmother, etc., and or there are 3 people sick in my family. So we try to encourage them to follow in advance, because saying, okay, what we can do with our sick familiars or friends, and they say, we can prepare this portion, or we can eat that fruit, or we can prepare some salads. So they show in the class what their mother or grandmother prepared for the sick people of the pandemic, of COVID. So they have to talk all that his mother or grandmother do in the kitchen, and say us in English what they put, what happened with the fever, what happened with the great pains of the body, etc. And they know a lot, because they say then after that, they say, I don't know that, for example, this fruit is better for the fiber, or it's better for the stomach, or all of this. So they know a lot about fruits, vegetables, and also all the portion of the preparation that in their house do their grandmother or mothers. And it was a great experience. They knew a lot about vitamins. They knew a lot of some minerals, or all that the fruits and vegetables has for us. Was very interesting.
Of course,
the students.
And we are sure that the students like that because we took into account their desire, their necessity, their interest. Anthony
Yes.
Michael is saying something very important here. The core issue in Latin America, English language learning and teaching, is the application of external language mechanism to solve internal problem.
Yes.
Suggest therefore, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, that's what we are. Yeah, we use books from other countries. We use strategies and techniques from other countries.
Yes.
Anybody, Isis Montesa from Peru and Panama, but who lives and works in the United States.
How are you, Jaime? Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Nice to see you and meet you. Just to want to share answering one of the questions about what we want for our students to get. I just want to share briefly students at the elementary level or primary and high school level. Independently of the language proficiency level, if they are beginners, intermediate, or more advanced, three things I could mention. The first one, to be resourceful. Since we have the remote learning experience, every student at this point, they have a tablet. So we want for them, if they don't know a word, to use the online dictionary that has definitions, examples, and even the pronunciation. So to become resourceful when they're trying to read or know about the meaning of a word. The second aspect, understand the importance of learning what is called here tier 2 words. Those are high frequency words that are used across content subjects. So they have to learn about using words describing, explaining, everything related to academics, because English is the language of power. So if we want them to succeed as English language learners, they need to access that kind of vocabulary. And the third one is to develop the critical thinking skills, question everything. Just because someone with certain, as you mentioned, certain title or authority, it doesn't mean that it's going to be convenient for them. So they have to question and analyze and discuss what information is presented to them. So I just wanted to share those aspects that we're trying to develop in our students. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Isis. Your answers are very precise and very accurate. Anybody else, please, who wants to express his or her opinion about any of the topics or questions that we have just mentioned? Something that everybody has mentioned is the feelings, and that is something that Raj knows very well. So I would like you, Raj, in spite you don't teach at the school, but you have a lot of experience about managing, not controlling, but managing feelings and emotions. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I think Roxy had her hand up, so after Roxy, I will go.
Okay, Roxy, go on.
Thank you. So kind, Raj. Many thanks. Yes, just wanted to complement something about how to connect levels. Something that I have worked as an external advisor for some schools, and something we did was this. The teachers who taught kinder had the chance to go kinder and the next year to teach primary, first grade. Only this, and they were the bridge, kinder and first grade. And the same thing we did with sixth grade and first graders. The teacher who taught sixth grade taught for first grade. So there was the bridge we needed. And when we couldn't do that, because we have great variety of characteristics of teacher, we need to have the teachers who have the characteristic for that. When we couldn't do that, we gave the program to for example, the teacher who's going to teach first grade, they received the program of kinder. So they knew exactly what was the background of those kids, especially those ones who continue with the same school. And they had exactly the names of which were the students who came from other schools and what was the level of English they had. That information is a responsibility of the school to be given to the teachers. The teachers need to have that information. And exactly the same thing we did with sixth grade and first graders. If the teacher couldn't continue, we gave the teacher of first grade all what is exactly the most important objective and program of the sixth grade, and exactly new students, where the students came from, and the level they have. because some of the things we tried to apply and didn't work was this, having an application exam. For example, first graders receive an application exam to work with levels. And as we know, teenagers are quite smart. And the majority failed the exam on purpose because they wanted to be in low level to have the less effort.
Of course.
So yes, so we applied that with the results of the first term.
Okay.
The students study all together. They didn't know. And after the first term, they have results. With that, we separate the levels. Okay. And it worked better.
And
so
another,
yes.
Sorry. And another problem is that parents, they don't agree with that system because they want their children to be in the first places. And because of English, because of your fault, teacher, they are not in the first places.
The first place. Yes. And just one more thing that I wanted to tell to Maria Marta, that she works with teenagers, which are quite difficult guys, right? Is that we have to be part in their world. We have, for example, with your kids that says, we come from primary school and we play. Yes, you tell them, yes, we are going to continue playing, but you know what? We are going to play the games of your age. So the students continue with the same idea. It's the way that we use the words that we use, change everything. And then you little by little, as we know, no, everything is a process. The students from first grade who were the highest, the most important of primary, when they come to first grade, they are nobody in high school. So we need to fill up that space and to tell them you're important and we are going to do this and we're going to do that. I remember helping students who had low levels of English, and they said that they hate reading. And I say, how come? Never read anything? No, I don't read. What would I show me? We were in his bedroom, online classes, and they show me. So he showed me the mangas book. And I know a little bit, but almost nothing. And then be part of his work. Said, show me, what is mangas? Show me the book. Who are the characters? And then I started learning about Naruto, Ichiki, and all these guys. And I use those little pictures in my Jamboard as motivation of their class. And he loves that. I did the program in the way he wanted to be taught, with his characters, with his things. Believe me, guys, this work.
Yes.
These kind of things work. And then
yes,
it's a lot easier if we are part of the work. Okay, thank you for the time.
No,
and
please, please
sorry,
go on,
and they
Maria
say, and the students say, la teacher sabe de los personajes que conocemos nosotros. This has happened to me. Yes, you're right.
And you know what, Maria Marta? They love to teach you. They love to know that the teacher doesn't know and that they are teaching.
They love it. They love it.
Great advantage of that.
Yes, and we.
I hope this helps you.
And we should
it works.
And we should show ourselves like, oops, I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
sure.
but show it, demonstrate it, and be authentic. And finally, Raj.
Yes, Raj, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, I'm so much enjoying what I'm hearing. I think what really comes down to is, what is my relationship with my students? You know, is it a relationship that shows that they have something to offer and I have something to offer? So there's a mutuality there between the teacher and the students. So that the relationship, and then of course the context. You know, what are we teaching them a context that is not foreign, that is foreign to them? So yeah, we're often teaching contexts that they don't relate to. And then lastly, the content. Of course, the content is important. And I want to say is, let's inspire the students to have intrinsic motivation and not intrinsic drive, not external motivations, because external motivations can change. But if they're driven internally, that'll last much longer. What an inspiring session. Thank you.
Yes, as usual, because of such wonderful professionals. Rosana Maria Ceballos from Piura wants to say something. Go on, Rosana.
Hello, Jaime. Hello,
hello,
dear
Rosana.
colleagues.
Good morning.
Hello. Well, I was listening to the comments, I mean the final comments, I think. And I think that the key work for a teacher is to love, you know. I had an experience I don't remember the year, okay? But I was covering a teacher, and when I entered the classroom, all the students asked me, teacher, they were teenagers, do you love us? Yes, I love you with all my heart, teacher, because the other teacher hated us and we don't want to learn English anymore.
It's interesting.
It's interesting, Rosanna.
Mhm.
You
Like a military person.
Yes, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. It's
So
exactly what.
Yeah, you know, I changed their minds, and they went next year. They went in the summer to study English, but I didn't recognize them because they weren't wearing the uniform. And they, Miss Rosanna, and they gave me kisses, and they are studying English right now. So I think we need to love our students with our heart, and
of course,
that's my comment.
Thank you, dear Roxana. And Isis Montesa, once again.
Thank you, Jaime. I just want to mention something that Anthony Michael, and Maria Marta mentioned about decolonizing our curriculum. I think it's an excellent idea.
Yes.
But I'm just remembering that more than 30 years ago, there was a professor from Universidad Nacional de Trujillo who was creating a curriculum using a Peruvian context. And he was able to place the books in some schools, but he was not that successful. And I remember, and I'm thinking, we were not ready for that. We were looking for the American experience, for the British experience, and we wanted to get exposed to those publishers and curriculums from abroad. But it's incredible that 30 years later, the new generations maybe are ready, and we as teachers, we need to be ready to start decolonizing the curriculum and start looking inward and try to get the context, the experiences from our own countries and create a curriculum. I think it's an excellent idea, and maybe this is an invitation for future authors to work with publishers. I think right now is the right time. Here in the United States, they're talking a lot about equity, about integrating in the curriculum African American history, indigenous history. So why not start a movement in Latin America? I think it's great. Thank you.
No, thank you. There is a teacher, Kanya Monica. She works here in Piura, and she tells me to remind you that we should keep on playing and singing with our students, no matter the level we are teaching. And something very important, something very important she mentions is to express and tell them and let them know how proud we feel when they get something that is in the curriculum, that is in the class. That is something very important. Let them know that we feel happy about their new achievements, the new things they get and they learn in the language. Katia Palomino. Katia Palomino.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Very briefly, please, Katia.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
All I have heard and I have understood from this conversation is that research is very important. Research try to analyze the background of our students, because you are saying and I can understand that there is a slight difference, right, between a group of students from others. Yeah, the interest, we have to be very, very aware of our interests and needs of our students. Yeah, they can be similar, but not necessarily the same. As somebody said, they were talking about the curricula of the British curricula, the American curricula. Yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to, I consider it's very nice to analyze them, to see, but not necessarily it's going to match with our students' needs, right? With our, so analyze that, research what they need, what is the context of our students first, is going to help us to go in that direct direction from to teach our students what they really need, what they really want, what is going to be helpful for them. And I mean this in all the levels, because I have taught in the three levels, right? No, four. As I remember now, I have four: kindergarten, primary, secondary, and university. So it happens the same. If you don't pay attention to your students' needs, and you don't focus on that, if you don't go in their way, in their world, well, it's going to be like teaching something something really understandable for them, and not necessarily for them. And in the end, obviously, they won't be interested in that.
Thank you, Katia. Where are you from, Katia?
Peru, Lima.
Oh, okay. And do you work in a school, university now?
Yes. At school, I work in Ricardo Palma, Surquillo, Lima, and also in two universities I have worked, in Callao and San Marcos, both.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, and our last and our last comment is a final message from our guests and our guest speakers, and I would love to have your words too, Mary Scholl. I don't know, I don't know if everyone knows Mary Scholl, but she has changed many people's lives, hearts, ideas, thoughts, just like Raj. And many of us, we are very grateful to you because the work you do is wonderful, just like everyone else here. But you should, in your bucket list, I repeat, in your bucket list, you should have go to Costa Rica and study at Collaborative Learning Institute. It used to be Centro Espiral Maná. There I met you, Raj, and I met you, Mary Scholl. And that's the place that will change and help you to deal with this very difficult profession, but beautiful. Okay, Isabel, your final message.
Well, I think my message for everyone is to be passionate. I will just summarize all this.
Yes.
I love what I do, and people pay me for that. That's it. And I love
that's what I tell.
You know, people know me that I'm an English teacher, right? But now with this lockdown, I found myself exploring plants. I love plants too, and I said, if I couldn't teach English anymore, which is my life, what would I do? Growing plants, because I love it, you know? So then I realized we have to do, and I also heard another coach saying, you have to love what you do and then make money with that. That's it.
Yes, that's exactly what I tell my students. I have fun, I love what I do, and besides, I get paid.
Sure. So it's not my work.
And then I tell them, you know where the university gets the money to pay me? From your parents' pockets. And they say, oh yeah, so then study, then take advantage of the teacher you have. So, and then they, okay, teacher, okay. Then,
I would say, Jaime, to be passionate, because then you are inner motivated to do,
yes,
you know, whatever you have to do.
You don't need any exam from the government. You don't need
anything, you know, right.
Or you have to, no, you don't need that.
You want to. I do it because I want it. And, and I, you know, I read, I learn because I want it.
Not because I'm going to be,
right.
Not because I'm going to be.
I hope I can learn, I can teach because I love teaching children with my cane if I am not able to walk, but right. Yeah, so that is, and I keep on learning and because getting updated because, you know, we are evolving and everything is going on. So we cannot keep on with all the strategies.
Yes, look at us. Look at us. We've been friends like for 30 years.
Right.
Isabel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we are still young, wild, and free.
Sure, sure. Okay, thanks, and just that's my message for all teachers in the world.
Thank you, Isabel.
Keep on.
Thank you. Luz Adriana in Colombia.
Yes, I agree with Isabel. We need that passion. We also need commitment, and we need to open our minds and our hearts. And I'm going to show you this picture that summarizes a lot of what I think. I don't know if you can see. It
Yes,
says,
we can.
Okay, so this is it. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. It was said by Albert Einstein, and this is it. If we provide a meaningful and fun and loving experience for our students in the English classes, they will feel motivated and they will learn. They will feel that they are useful, that they are meant to be like for something important. So my invitation is that passion, commitment, and to reinvent. As it happened for the last 2 years with the pandemics, we were analog teachers in classroom with boards and markers and all of that, and then we had to reinvent ourselves and our practices. So this is my final comment. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad, and I feel so proud, and I feel so happy because there are people like you in this world. We are making the differences. We are touching hearts, changing minds, and we are like being the best teachers of the world. So thank you so much and congratulations for what you do. And remember, we have to get someday and have that cup of coffee.
Of course, dear Luz. Could you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Maria Marta in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes, I'd like to share something with you. I hope, can you see it?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I expect.
Yeah, we can see.
Could look better. This is my message. Choose to be the happy teacher, no matter what. And if this fails, go find another job.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Do enjoy your job. Because if you're not happy, why insist on doing something you don't like, you don't feel at ease with, right?
You will hurt students' feelings.
Yes, you know, I'm about to retire in 2 years' time, and everybody tells me, why don't you become a head of department? Why don't you have a head of a school? You can do it. I don't want to. I'm happy in the classroom, and I'm going to retire while I'm in the classroom. So I know I won't be happy if I'm a head of a school. I would never be. So, well, this is my message.
Well, you could travel to Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, and other countries, please, to spread the word, dear Marta. Could you please stop sharing your screen, Maria
Of course.
Marta?
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you, please. And finally, Marina Gonzalez, the treasurer of our international,
what is it? Association. Guild. I would say guild, right? We have to change the name. I must say, well, I am a manager mostly. I mean, so, I love listening to everybody, but I think that if there is something to be that I would like to share is that, besides the passion that we all have for what we all do, we need to add the global vision as well. I mean, it's not only the individual, it's not only the effort that you do that is fantastic, and that is the key. But we need to think in both levels, and we need to read more. We need to read research, and we need to read research that is created in the classrooms. And we need to do away slowly from, I mean, with the formats that we think that are the ones that are valid and the others that are not. But by reading and knowing that others are doing this, then we can keep on, evolve, because I think that in a way we are a generation, people my age and Jaimito's age, we are a generation that has been fighting for this, okay? So it's time for younger generations to continue this, because most of us are, even though we will continue working, we are near retirement. So it's important to see. Well, I mean, the government, the city of Buenos Aires wanted to retire me, and I had to.
Don't let them.
No, I haven't. I didn't. But it's part of what we live, and it's important that the new generations can build on what we have already done. It's not. I mean, really, it's fantastic that we worry about motivation, but but these things have been solved theoretically. They have not been solved in our classrooms, but there is a theoretical solution. So if we read and if we feel more sure of what we are doing, we can move forward, and our association can finally take place. It's the goodwilled teachers in Latin America.
Yes,
right?
Beautiful words, beautiful message, dear Marina Gonzalez. And before the vice president of our association give us her message, remember Sunday 27, we will have Inés Torres de Muñoz and Carla Montes de Oca talking about reading and listening skills for the TOEFL IBT. Okay, so now the screen is yours, dear Mary Scholl, back in Costa Rica.
Okay, well, you guys, I have been busy this morning because I'm heading off to a celebration. A friend of mine is having a birthday party today, and for her birthday party, she invited us to all come and help her in her garden.
Good.
So we're going to go work in a garden for a number of hours, and then during our session, I made this spinach pie.
Send us a little piece.
I will send it to you. I will send it to you. So the reason I'm sharing it is not to make you hungry or envious, or but
it's too late to say that. I'm hungry already.
Or to manipulate you into coming to Costa Rica so you can try it, which would be lovely. You're all welcome. I think there's a lot to, I think the only piece I think I can add, because really all the wisdom is already here and already been said. I think we need to think a little bit about ourselves, taking care of ourselves. And so my friend having this birthday celebration, she's taking care of herself by saying, come help me with my garden.
That's beautiful.
Don't give me gifts, don't give me, don't give me material things, or bring a plant if you want to give me a plant. And I think that we have the resources to care for ourselves, whether it's pausing and meditating, whether it's eating a yummy spinach pie, whether it's showing up here on Sunday mornings with Jaime and the group, or whether it's watching not showing up. Sometimes not showing up is a form of self-care.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
But to just add in, I think that if we all treat ourselves the way we would like to be treating our students, always, we treat ourselves the way we'd like to be treating our colleagues, or our colleagues would like them to treat us always, the world will be an easier place to live in. And our day will be a little bit easier. So I wish for everyone that you do something, whatever it is, to take care of yourself today.
Thank you
so much. It was a phenomenal morning.
No, thank you, dear Mary, and thanks everyone here this morning, these 30 people, and I don't know how many in Facebook Live, but thank you so much. It was, as usual, a wonderful meeting of human beings, talking and discussing different issues, but the most important, I guess, what Mary Scholl said, because if there is going to be an accident on the airplane, the first one who has to put on his or her mask is you, and then help the weaker ones, the younger ones. And that's exactly what we have to do. Take care of ourselves, both emotionally, mentally, physically, and personally. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Luz. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Marina.
Thanks to you.
Thank you, Isis, Mary, Anthony, Roxana, Mónica, María Elba, Micaela, Tania, Adelina, Lorena, Vilma, Cristian, Idelfonso, Natalie, Rocío, Marta, Marco Antonio in Mexico, Julissa Pasache, and everyone else. See you in 2 weeks. Have a nice St. Valentine's Day. Spread your love to everyone. Bye-bye. See you. Goodbye.
Have a great one, Jaime.
You too.
Hola, Isa.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy Sunday.
Bye.
Enjoy Sunday. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you for a wonderful time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Monique Vinesa.
Thank you, Jaime.
Bye-bye, Micaela in
Bye.
Peru.
Bye.
Happy
Goodbye.
Valentine.
Hello and goodbye, Nicola.
Yes,
Nicola
happy Valentine's.
Nicola has
Happy
gone.
Valentine's. Oh, hello. Goodbye. Have a great one. It was a
Nicola,
great session,
Wills.
guys.
Thank you so much. See you
You're
soon.
welcome.
See you
See you.
soon,
Okay.
Nicola.
Okay, bye.
Take care.